Yeah, what would NBL Pocket...
3 ball from CG43. They're in front.
This is flat out ridiculous. From a beautiful left hand, in and out finish, the old-fashioned way.
Newell gets to the basket with one to come. From there again. You have got to be kidding me. Tyson step, wraps it up.
Everybody, NBL Pocket Podcast, Thursday, 22nd of February at about 11 o'clock p.m. on the East Coast. Canyon's on the other side of the country, and we're talking NBL basketball. Canyon, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Hopefully I'm sounding crisp and clear and amazing with my new internet. Fiber to the home, baby. But,
Sounded like a euphemism. Fiber to the home. Could be. What are we talking about today? I'll tell you what we're talking about. We're looking at the awards. We're looking at the play-ins, the playoffs. We've got a few funky questions like, some people give out Coach of the Year. Well, here at NBL Pocket Pod, we give out the worst Coach of the Year. Ha, ha, ha. We're all having fun. And then we're going to give team grades or season grades and forecasts for the bottom four, the teams that didn't make the what sometimes is referred to as the finals, what is sometimes referred to as the play-in or playoffs. It's hard to tell anymore. This league changes its mind all the time. And then we're going to make some predictions, and then we're getting out of here, Kenny.
Sounds like a good rundown as we head into the FIBA break. Oh, actually, that's a good point. The Boomers played tonight, didn't they?
They did. They beat, Korea? Could have been.
Was it a handy margin? Like, I've been without internet as my internet has switched over.
They won.
To the home.
All I wanted to know was it a win? Yeah, I think it was pretty handy. The funny thing is, guess who started at point guard?
Ben Henschel.
Mitch McCarron.
Okay.
Can't start for his own team, can start for the country. Well, the B Boomers anyway. Listen, Canyon, we came to the end of the NBL 24 regular season. Yeah. It's in the books. Done, over. It's in the past. We've done the hard yards. We're on the home stretch. I want to ask you this simple question. Does the season, by whatever metric you want to go by, get a thumbs up or a thumbs down from you?
It gets a thumbs up.
Why?
Started slow. I felt the season was a bit of a struggle. But as it went on, there was enough interest in terms of sort of off-court shenanigans to keep me interested. Mm-hmm. And there was enough competitive tension right up to the end, and the whole ladder, who's going to make it where on the ladder, kept me interested from a standings point of view. So overall, I'm giving it a thumbs up. I can go into more detail on each of those if you wish, but...
Well, I think I would also give it a thumbs up. It was a good season. And you're right when you say it started slow and really was salvaged by a couple of things. The Wildcats and Bryce Cotton improving their form, and then the Hawks, because before that you had a dead spot in the schedule with the Hawks. They were horrible. And then all of a sudden that one team infused so much interest in the second part of the year because they just kept winning, kept knocking teams off, beat Melbourne, beat big teams, and totally reshuffled the ladder, because for there a time there it was looking like Melbourne were going to be the only team to 18 plus wins, and then it kind of leveled back out. So it was all good. I want to ask you this. Oh,
sorry.
No, go. Yeah, please.
I was going to say there was a good spread of dysfunctional teams through the year.
Yeah,
and I think that's key to my enjoyment of the league these days. I want to watch somebody and just because something terrible is going to happen. And so we had at the beginning the Wildcats that were absolutely shocking.
Yep.
They weren't on the same page. Fun to watch. Then we had the Hawks, terrible watching. Adelaide were absolutely... It was just, what mistakes are Jacquemus and CJ going to make this week in their coaching? And then we moved on to the whole Cairns thing. It's like, what are they doing? And Brisbane started to fall apart. It's just kind of...
Brisbane lost all those close games. That's right.
Yeah. So I just kind of liked it from a point of view. Oh, and of course, Sydney. Sydney is just like, it's so much fun to watch. How frantic is the coach going to look this week? So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that was fun.
And then Southeast Melbourne obviously just kind of, what are they going to be? And then they just totally get injured and bottom out. Unbelievable. I want to ask you this. Have the NBL games this season and it as a product and the secondary media created by the league given the league more or less credibility over last season? And does it give them more credibility at the negotiating table at the end of the season over their TV rights, which, as people who've listened to this know, that their deal with, I believe, ESPN News Corp Foxtel, whatever you want to call it, elapses, and now they're negotiating that space. Do you think they've got, what do you think in that space? As a commercial product, NBL on the table, thumbs up, thumbs down, powerful, not powerful?
Well, I'd probably call it a push on last year, like basically about the same, I think, Joe.
Okay.
It felt a bit forced, like they were pushing their own media so hard that sometimes it felt like it wasn't earned media at all. It was just incessant self-promotion, and it was they did a good job with it. Like I think they're almost daily podcasts. I don't know what their numbers were on those things, but I thought they were pretty well done for the whole. But does it help them negotiate? Does it move them up to the big table in Australian sports? I don't think they're there yet.
I just think, here's my worry for the NBL. The ratings on the Super Bowl were just that big, and obviously the Taylor Swift impact. The NFL has more cultural relevancy in Australia. This peculiar game, far-flung, played away, has greater TV numbers than the A-League. It has greater numbers than and it's because it has the Taylor Swift element.
It's a one-off, though, as well.
But I don't know that it is. Last year's Super Bowl had massive numbers on 7 Mate on a Monday at midday. So no, I don't think it's a flash in the pan.
No, but I mean that's a one. People aren't tuning into the NFL week in, week out.
I don't know. I think they honestly may in a number comparable to the NBL. I really do, Kenyon. I just think Australians understand a game on grass. I don't think they get this wooden stuff. They just don't. Certainly not a certain demographic. They just don't. They don't get it. They're like that. That's for ballroom dancing, not for. I don't know what these people think, but so I don't know. I have to hand it. Corey Homicide Williams gave a great speech at the awards. They miss him. His talent was good. He had his own orbit. He brought young fans in, and they missed him. And they tried to replace him, but I just, as you say before, a bit forced. They didn't have that real loud. He was just a fireball presence and fired up teams and got people's reactions, and he was missed. And then very much enjoyed at the awards. So. They did well. I've always enjoyed the stuff the NBL puts out, its own media, especially its socials. I think I read a report the other day that the NBL is one of the fastest growing Instagram accounts in Australian sport. You can only look at these metrics. These are growing on Instagram is not a trivial matter. That's.
I wish they would grow on Mastodon. That's where I want to see them.
They've totally neglected, to the people at the NBL HQ, you have totally neglected that platform, and it's going to be big. But the question I guess is, where does the NBL sit in that negotiation, and where does Foxtel sit? I mean, Foxtel, to let everyone know, Foxtel has about 4.7 million subscribers. 1.4 million are on KO, and then 1.5 million have the actual Foxtel set box, whatever you want to call it. Just a reminder, though, the Australian population is set to hit about 27, 28 million next year. So selling your rights to that company, you're only getting a baked-on sports fan, yes, but you're neglecting a whole slew of people who could be interacting with your product. So where does the NBL sit in its negotiation? Where does the TV people who want its TV rights sit? Really, that's going to be fascinating. And also, I hate to bore it down with this, but the A-League signed this bloated contract. Channel 10 and Paramount can't get off it, even though the ratings are just in the toilet, in the cistern of the toilet. They couldn't be.
And Paramount itself, Paramount Plus, has got all sorts of financial issues. That company is in a world of hurt and potentially even shopping it around. So, and that's at the international billion dollar kind of area. But Paramount Plus is that whole thing is a basket case.
Basket case. And speaking of basket case, let's get back to basketball. Off basketball. The awards. Did you watch a second? I'm going to preempt your answer. I think you didn't.
Interesting. I think you did. Obviously you did. You saw the Homicide speech. So I did until a point. Okay. I was like watching it and I thought, this is pretty bad. Like, this is painful watching, but I'm going to stick with it.
You watched the Gazies?
Wait. I watched it and I got to the point where they had that. Was he a comedian? Or?
As a magician.
Oh my God. At that point, I watched his first probably his first 4 minutes.
I didn't get the punchline of the magic. I didn't actually understand what was the sleight of hand. I didn't get it.
Well, I at that point, I was like, this is too shit. I'm out.
There's nothing more disgusting than bad magic.
Oh, man. He wasn't funny, and he was trying to correct you. And you could just, I don't know if maybe he did have the crowd. I didn't get a feeling that he had the crowd at all. I think everybody was like, what the fuck is this guy? That was terrible. And so NBL, if you saw your stream numbers drop at that point, one of those people was me, just going, no, I can't do this. I'm sorry. So I missed all the good stuff after that.
Yep. Can I just say, I didn't watch a second of the broadcast, the live broadcast. I followed it all on Twitter. I just wanted to see who won the awards. And no, that's not true. After the fact, I saw on Twitter, everyone was like, oh, this magician, this is so cringe. I had to go and see it. So I did go back. I went to YouTube about the next morning and said, who's this magician? And had to see for myself. But, it was an award show. It's people within a company giving their own employees awards. Like, they're always cringe and terrible. Watched the award. No, I just followed on Twitter, got the awards. Homicide Speech was put up on Twitter. So they did a great job of taking the best bits and putting up on social. So congratulations. But as far as I did not see a single award get announced. I just looked at all the graphic tiles on X and enjoyed it.
Yep.
So that was it.
Well, I think the NBL maybe carrying on the tradition of having something to hate watch. They had a magician.
Hey,
you tuned in and hate watched the magician.
I enjoyed. I didn't understand it. I didn't get it. I didn't hate it. I just thought I was perplexed. I was bemused, which I guess is what a magician tries to do. Like, maybe this guy's meta magician, where some guys do genuine sleight of hand to sort of bamboozle and impress, whereas this guy just thought, no, I'm just going to genuinely make people feel uncomfortable. Listen, let's go Coach of the Year.
Okay.
Vickerman won it. Any issue with you?
Yeah. Tatum should have won it.
Oh, you're blunt about it. Go on, because I don't hate you. So you're angry about the award or hate it, or
I'm not
just
angry with that. You can mount a fair and reasonable argument that Vickerman won it. Like, he had that team. They missed playoffs last season. They're back in top of the ladder this season. Well done up the front all season. Well done. Also, just rocking a very solid roster.
Yeah,
very solid.
Ian Clark. Ian Clark and Golding and JLA. I mean, who's in that Illawarra front? Like, Blanchfield gets 15, 20 minutes a game for Illawarra.
Like, Vickerman's a very good coach, but he has always had very good squads. He's a bit in the Gorgian mould, like, always has the horses. So how good a coach is he really?
Are we doing any NBL bias here? Where I did believe that there was no chance Tatum was going to win it. New guy to the league. Oh, there's the dishwasher. New guy to the league. And I just never thought anyone was going to outvote Vickerman, because it's awkward when you've voted for someone else and then you got to ask Vickerman for a post-game interview. Like, it's just not going to happen. I just knew it was going to be Vickerman. I thought the story. It's also like, what is the criteria of NBL Coach of the Year? Is it sort of storyline driven? Do they take into consideration the roster, or is it just purely this guy won more games, this guy dealt with more injury? I never know the criteria on these things.
No, it fluctuates from season to season.
And it fluctuates from season to season. But for me, I look at who did better with the worst team or the lesser team, and that was definitely Tatum. The rosters aren't even comparable. But
I also look at what, like, Vickerman might have him picked on the edge, X's and O's, but Tatum turned a program around. He had a bunch of disenfranchised dudes, and he turned that whole thing around to the point where they're loving life. That's got to be worth something.
Can I make a case for Schuler?
You can try.
I'm not going to. He was never going to win this award. But that team, man, I mean, 8th in defensive rating, 7th in offensive rating. Nothing jumps off the page. But listen to the spare parts on that team. Nathan Sobey, good player, right? Got a reputation. Bannon just came out of nowhere.
Surprised. Whose
radar was he?
I thought he was an import at first. He was so solid.
Thought he was terrific, but he missed time. He missed 9 games this year, or wasn't on the roster, or whatever the hell. Chris Smith was their import. Harrison, who's been there for years and had the best year he's ever had. McDaniel cast a sort of set-aside player from, I want to say, the Jack Jumpers. What else have I got? Aaron Baines missed 5 games. He was a disruption all year. Yep. Schuler dealt it really well. Norton was a cast-off from Perth, rather famously. Isaac White, a cast-off from a couple of teams now, had a good season. And then DJ Mitchell missed a whole bunch of games. He only played 15 games. Scott missed games. Rocker, like, who are these people? And they finished with the same record as 5th place Sydney. I don't think he should have won Coach of the Year, of course not. But I want to give a big toot to the horn and a tip of the cap to Schuler. I thought he was really, really good.
It's a good, yeah. I mean, he must be doing something right. If he could get Sobey to actually sort of become a team player to some extent. Like, Sobey still went hero
Sobey was
ball.
a team player up until about the last 4 minutes of any close game. And then it was his splits.
Only so much one coach can do, right?
Yeah.
But it's a good point. And basically, Brisbane Bullets played without any imports and without a marquee player.
Sobey I'm going to call marquee.
Okay, but Baines is the official marquee, isn't he?
Yeah, I would think so.
But they're all duds.
Well, Baines had a bad year. I mean,
as did all their imports.
Oh, well, their biggest problem was 3-point shooting. Like, they were no threat from the outside.
No.
But we'll go into that. I want to let's give out our NBL Pocket Podcast Worst Coach of the Year award. Are there two? I've got 2 candidates. You know the 2 candidates. Is there a third I'm not considering?
You see, everybody. Well,
of course. No, there are 3. Sorry, there are 3.
I've got 4.
Oh, so obviously I'll give you my 3, the definites who are real front runners for this one.
Okay.
Jacobus, CJ Bruton, and of course Mahmoud Abdul Fattah. They're the big ones. Who's the 4th?
They're the 3. If I want to be controversial, I can go with the 4th. John Riley.
Oh, come on. Behave.
Seriously, he showed no ability to adapt. He basically knew what was going to happen each week, and he never developed an alternative method. Like, okay, so Bryce is going to get doubled. Maybe we can put some wrinkles in this offense. Nah, why bother? Let's just lean into the things we're good at. Nah, just not that great. Never got Jordan Usher really going.
Usher was kind of
Cotton
good just by pure chance.
Yeah. Ran Bryce Cotton for 38 minutes a game. Couldn't find any time. Maybe this is good coaching, but couldn't find any time for Corey Webster at any point.
Not a huge condemnation from me on that.
No, it's not. But I don't know. I just he's not the worst coach of the year. He's not going to. But he's middle of the pack.
Okay, you'd give it. He's a candidate in your mind. Well, of the 3 serious candidates, come on, who are you giving the 3 votes to? Reminder: Jacobus 2 and 7, cut very early on. CJ Bruton 4 and 9 in Adelaide, a team that then, or the Sydney Kings coach Abdul Fattah.
I was gonna say Jacobus, but no, I'm actually gonna go Bruton.
Oh, I would have. I mean, I'm not going to have Abdul Fattah, but I have to have the conversation to have a losing record, and not by a game or they lost some close ones. Like this team got smoked. To have a losing record with Jalen Adams on your team and DJ Hogue, who admittingly only played the 15 games, but even Valentine and just those pretty serviceable locals and to regress Glover's game and to have Jordan Hunter and these types of guys and just get nothing. Oi, oi, oi. And then the other thing is, between Christmas and the 11th of February, Alex Tui completely fell off the map. And it all just, I think, I've been critical of Tui, but what I will say is, on Christmas Eve or Day, whatever they played, had a bad showing, and he goes to the bench. And he'd started the season up until that point. That kills a player's confidence. It kills it. And then he just jumped from, starter to, or mainly on the bench, but bench, and then his minutes would be, 25, 20, 18, 12, 10, back on the starting lineup. Like, it was just bizarre. And anyway, I'll say this. MAF, I'm calling him, Mohamed Abdul Fattah, fiddles with his starting lineups more than Terry Morris, who, for people like that, he's a very famous fiddler. Would I, if I called this guy clueless and a fraud, would that be unfair?
It wouldn't be. I don't think
I say fraud because in his post-game press conferences, this guy just spits the sort of stuff you hear on American ESPN channel shows, like, they just didn't try enough, and they weren't prepared. It's like, come on, people sitting at a desk can say that. You as a coach can't say that. So I've gone on a diatribe, but
it's a good one. I also liked watching him. I don't know if that's the right word, but enjoyed his performances on the sidelines where he would just go absolutely mental.
Oh,
I don't know how that guy didn't get more technical fouls. Like
it's
he
unbelievable.
looked like he was ready to strangle a referee at certain points of that, and it was just a disaster. So,
And their record is they're 13 and 15 or something. Is that their end record? Whatever it is.
it's not enough. Ironically, they're probably gonna get through the first round now.
We're going to talk about that. He may just look like a genius. Moving on. You say Bruton. I say Jacobus.
So look,
Why?
they're all terrible. But I'm going to say Bruton because he had a reasonable team, but he just confused everybody. Nobody really knew what they were meant to do. It seemed like they didn't care. And the thing about he seemed almost oblivious to it. And he was letting his assistant coach basically jump up and down and run the show more than he was. He just seemed to have zero authority.
Does that make him a bad Oh, sorry. Go on.
No, and I think the fact that I think maybe he knew too much. Like he was too strategic about the game, but he wasn't able to communicate that. And I think the players just got confused and lost. And he didn't read the room and make any adjustments. He just kept going on the same path. He was like, I'm on these rails. I'm a train and I'm on these rails and I will not deviate. Even if it's going to absolute shit, I don't change.
I think to even call him a coach is a sort of... To say he was a bad coach is not doing the word justice. In that, I think he just sort of didn't understand the business of NBL basketball. For example, like the Trenton Flowers, we're going to start him a point guard, smiling down the barrel of the cat. We're going to start him a point guard. Like, what was the strategy there? And it cost him a game or two at the beginning of the season because they started him. He was dreadful. Maybe it was just the blitz. But then you had this weird thing where you've told him a Karen, like, we're going to start him over you in the blitz. We're going to start him, and then we're not. Like, why are you jerking around your players? What are you doing? And then they're just... He was bad. But Jacobus, I mean, the thing is, this is why I say I give the award to JJ. 2-7, but the thing was the turnaround was so sharp. I mean, the turnaround from both of them was sharp, but the turnaround of Illawarra has been, I mean, they're a real upset contender for the top four. I mean, they're in the top four. They're a real, if they kind of get a lucky break and get through and meet Perth in a semi, I don't know if that's possible. Like, they're a chance to go through to the finals. Yeah. And they look dreadful, so that's so bad. But you know what the funny thing is? I think Jacobus is with the Boomers team as an assistant.
Seriously?
I swear, if I'm wrong, get at me on Twitter at NBL Pocket Pod, but I'm pretty sure he's there. I think he got a polo. And to him, I say, fuck, like what a job interview. Like, was he wearing a mask? What a legend. What did he have to say or do in that interview? That is mental.
He carries the Gorgian bum bag.
Wow.
That's what he does.
Far out. He must carry it really, really well. Moving on. Who won most improved? I looked at all the awards before they were given, and I didn't even look at the nominees. I just went, who do I think should win the award? Didn't even look. So I had most improved being McVeigh, and I think the most improved was Sean McDonald of Tasmania.
Yeah.
I thought it was definitely McVeigh. McVeigh went from being a good player, didn't have a bad year last year, to being I thought, NBL second team, or right on the fringe. Yeah, that's why I gave the award.
I love that selection because, he was a closer. You know, it was just... I remember massive. He hit that game-winning 3, but also just deadly. He had the Nowitzki little lean, step-back jumper going this year. Like, he was great. If it wasn't him, it could have almost been Will Magnay.
Well, that was, Will Magnay, I mean, it's difficult how they give that award because he had that really good year, got injured. I don't think they give it like that. But, I totally see your point. But Sean McDonald won it.
He was good.
I guess.
Like, he was okay, but I didn't feel the jump. I didn't feel the improvement. I just thought, he's just going to be better. It
was when I saw he had been awarded the award, I was like, him. Yeah, okay. Wasn't one I preemptively thought of. MVP obviously went to Bryce Cotton. We don't moving on. Yep. Sixth man of the year. I had Will Magnay. Only played the 18 games, didn't start any of them. I thought when... he obviously missed 10 games of the season. That works against you in these awards. I understand that. But, geez, in those 18 games, like, he was, for certainly 10 of them, he was a game winner and totally turned games on offense, on defense. I thought it definitely should have gone to him. Who won it instead? I can't remember.
Clark.
You can't complain about that. I can't complain about that, but I still think it should have gone to Magna. What do you
It was
think?
Clark, wasn't it? I'm not actually looking.
Yeah, it was
at
in Clark.
just from
Yeah.
memory.
Yeah, it was in Clark.
Yeah. No, I was okay with Clark. Yeah, he was good. He
did play a lot more games.
and he was frightening. You know, he's just like
Oh, he's a
he
great
comes
player.
in. He was
Yeah,
like,
no complaints.
Geez. Okay.
No complaints. Defensive Player of the Year went to Shea Ili. I thought it had to go to someone from Melbourne. I think it would have just looked strange if it didn't.
Yep.
So Ili, you happy with that, or should it have been Huck Porty?
I'm unhappy with it.
Okay, go on.
I think Ili he gets a lot of credit because he's
He's dirty.
noticed.
Like,
He's
rough.
dirty. Yeah, he gets up and in on the ball.
He's a roughhouser, yeah.
So it's an obvious defensive candidate. I think there's other players that play defense, that play positional defense. They do the little things. They block out.
Right.
But Shea Ili just runs into people. He's reckless. And that
He's learnt from the master, like Dellavedova, Country Vic. Good Lord.
Yeah.
Like, you better have your balls on a vice because they're getting a pounding when you play Dellavedova. Squeeze them, crush them, twist them, jerk them, all that stuff. So if not Ili, then who?
I liked Magnay.
18 games, though, Ken.
I know.
10 games. That's a third of the season.
But he was just
Over
maybe
thirds.
I've got recency bias, but he was just a beast inside.
Oh, he was blocking everything, but too many games missed. The NBA has that 65 out of 82 games played. Magnay's not even close to that. I didn't have an issue with Ili. He clamped some guys this year, but yeah, it's fine. But it leaves a wee sour taste in my mouth, and by the sound of it, yours too.
Yep.
Rising Star. I forget who won it, and I've got here in my notes here. The correct answer of who won it is who gives a shit.
It was
what the
Froling.
fuck
Sam
is this
Froling.
award? A Sam Froling, who's what? 25 years
Been
old.
in the
like-
league for about 7 years.
It's like an industry super fund. Like, what? The fuck is this award? Sorry for the language. So I had Sar. I thought he had a pretty good year. Like, okay, you have to give it to a next star. Just give a next star award. That gets some media traction. And instead, it goes to Sam Froling, who's been in the league for ages and is 25.
Yeah, I think screw that. Let's not call it a rising star. Let's call it a next star award, as you say.
Oh, cap it at like 21 years old.
Yeah.
So, the only real import who could have won at that point was, I think, Mello Trimble in his first year at Cairns years ago. That's fine. He was 21 or 2 at that point. So, okay, when they're that young. But what's going on?
I'm gonna give it to not Sar though. Maybe I would give it to Sar, but coming up real close from behind is Rob Stavicius.
Oh, the Lithuanian kid at Breakers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I again, like, you could throw any name here. I do not care. I don't fucking care about this. First team. Here's my picks. I actually have kind of forgotten who won it, but
We
in
do
that
our
team,
research on this show, people.
Yeah, we sure do. We do our own research. But I had Cotton, Parker Jackson Cartwright, Lamb, Gary Clark of Illawarra, and I had Mitch Creek. Maybe I'm off about that.
I don't like Mitch Creek. I don't like
Who was in that team? It was Cotton, Cartwright, Lamb,
Clark. And
no, Golding was in there.
Yeah, Golding. Yeah, that's it, isn't it?
Clark and Golding.
Yeah.
I don't think Clark made it.
We should really do.
Do you want to test your internet or mine? Do you mind bringing that up while I give my? But I think if Gary Clark didn't make it, he definitely should have. Sorry, everyone at home about this. But while Kenyon checks the first teams and second teams, on the second team, I had Patrick Miller. I don't think he got shit. He didn't get a damn thing. And then I had Doyle, I had Adams, I had McVeigh, and I had JLA, but only played the 20 games. So have you got it there, Kenyon?
Yeah. So the first team was Bryce Cotton, Chris
Obviously.
Golding, Gary Clark, Parker Jackson Cartwright, Anthony Lamb.
Yeah, see, Golding in the first team. You got to.
He was good. He was good this year.
He was good.
He faded a little bit
but
towards
NBA
the end.
first team. NBL first team. Sorry. Over Doyle. Over like these guys.
Doyle sucked. Doyle was not good. If you're gonna, I'd go the what's his name? See, I'm losing my mind now. It's getting late. The other Tassie Jack jumper guy, little guy.
Oh, Crawford. First team. No, behave. I think. And then who's in the second team?
Second team is JLA, Joe Luala-Chul.
Yep, fair enough.
Mitch Creek, Nathan Sobey, Milton Doyle, and Jack McVeigh.
Okay, McVeigh did make it. Okay, good. Patrick Miller deserves to be on that team.
Does he?
I really think he does. Yeah, over probably over Sobey. I mean, they're the same record. Patrick Miller was really. There was a time where that team was. I mean, that team had the bad start with the NBA trip and all that sort of stuff. I thought he was really good, man. He was like Casper Ware. When Casper Ware was good, he was really good. So Jalen Adams didn't make that team? Did you say Adams?
No, he didn't. Yeah, that's...
I mean, Adams has had a bad... That team was bad,
season.
and he had a frustrating season, but he always statted well, and he was always their best, and they've got the same record as Brisbane and other teams in that list, so... Bit hard done by. JLA only played the 20 games this year, missed 8 of them. He's still a good player.
Yeah.
I didn't have Sobey, but listen to Sobey's splits, right? So it was third in points per game by a fraction of a hair over whoever the fourth person was. But his splits were 40% from the field, 28 from 3, 86 from the foul line, but 28% from the outside. The other one, hard done by Vasiljevic, missed 8 games, quote unquote missed, because he joined the season late, 6th in points per game. It was hard. It was a hard year to give it. If Adams is missing out, Vasiljevic is definitely missing out. So I've got no... Do you have any major complaints or queries?
No. It was, you can make a few arguments here and there, but I think overall it's pretty fine. One of the things that I find interesting is that I remember at the beginning of the season, Dellavedova coming out and saying this was the year that he was going to have a crack getting back into the Boomers. That was that was the storyline. He's just not shown up at all. Like if he was any chance for the Boomers, he'd be in one of these lineups. He is not.
I think he did make that NBL second team the first year he played.
Yeah, but
that was a long time ago.
I think he's done.
As far as Boomers consideration,
I
think so, especially with the amount of talent going around at that position for that team. Canyon, they're the awards. Any final comment on those before we move on to like teams that didn't make the playoffs? And
no, I don't think there was anything. There was the we mentioned the executive of the year.
When did the Melbourne go?
Melbourne guy, yeah.
Again, what's the criteria of this award? Win the most games?
Who knows?
Is it kept it under a certain dollar amount?
Who knows? But congratulations to that guy.
Congratulations, Guy.
Yeah, well done.
Trulson, I want to say. Started with a T.
See, we all, as much as we hate him, we know Danny Mills.
Yeah, we know Danny Mills. The lawnmower man?
Pongrass.
He must feel a little bit sour taste. He had good teams. He built really good teams the last 2 years.
Yeah,
nothing.
Hired the wrong coach.
Well, that makes him ineligible. Listen, let's jump onto the teams before we jump onto the teams that did make it, let's stay in the mud, unless you've got something to say.
I've just got one other thing just before we...
Give me.
Just on... Tom Abercrombie, I think we mentioned him last episode because he retired, but I was just reflecting on him again. I've got one question for you, Joe.
Sure.
If Tom Abercrombie was coming up in the league now, could he have been sort of a next star going to the NBA?
100%. Well, I'll just put you... I remember watching him play at the same kind of age that Travers is now. And Travers gets all this press and is a drafted NBA player. I think Abercrombie's a better player. Always was, yeah. So 100%. I mean, he had... The thing with the NBA for me is, can guys keep up athletically? Yep. And Tom Abercrombie absolutely could.
Yep.
So he ticks that first box, and then it's a skill game and a bit of luck and a few other things, but he wouldn't have just got to a gym and been completely swept off the floor athletically. So, yeah, I think so. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think in this era, he would have had a bunch of executives looking at him, and he would have
3-and-D wing.
He would have had a great opportunity. Exactly.
Yeah.
Would have been a great off the bench option for
just
low maintenance.
Low maintenance, just have that. He would have just had the chance to do that kind of year or two in the NBA. You know, that guys kind of get now, the Cooks NBA tour where they get 20 games and, I did it. I made that league and now I come back to a team and play good minutes rather than just riding the bus. And that's a fun experience and it pays well as well, just quietly. So he would have had that. But that's what happens when BA runs your sport into the ground or the league into the ground. Yeah. Let's go to the teams that didn't make it. Let's do this quickly. Brisbane 13-15, finished wherever they did. Here's who's coming back. Schuler's under contract. Bannon's under contract, Rocco's under contract, and Smith, their import's coming back.
Oh, that's a shame.
Norton, player option. You'd say he probably picks that up. Might have a bit of interest from other clubs, though. Maybe.
I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay.
Seems like a guy who likes a bit of, after the tumultuous move of cities from Perth, probably keen for some stability.
Yep.
Sobey, Harrison and White are all team options. You would think that the team picks up all three of them. Sobey, like maybe they think they can spend that money on an import, but shucks, like you'd let a local
risky.
go, man. It's very risky. And then Baines and Prath are out of contract. You would say that as a good thing. Would you bother with either of them?
I would scrap both of those guys.
Yep. Okay.
Even
So-
I know they said Prather, they'll check him out this season and look to sign him again next year.
he's
Don't do it. Don't do it. He's cooked.
I've seen all I need to see. And more the point, I saw all I needed to see when he had a flash in the pan cup of coffee with Melbourne a little while ago, or was it? Can't remember. Would you give, sticking with the thumbs up, thumbs down thing, looking at that of who's coming back and so on and so forth, you giving this team a thumbs up for their future or a thumbs down for their future?
Gosh, it's almost like it all comes down to what can they find on the import market. They need to move the needle on that
for
one.
Sure.
I like
Cairns, their
core.
rival team does such a good job of it, and yet they don't. Sorry.
Yeah, I like their core. I like Bannon. I really like Bannon.
Yeah, he's a solid player.
I think he'll be fantastic. Sobey and Norton, they're good. Tyro Harrison really came a long way this season. So I just like, they've got a good sort of bench core there and a couple of starters, but they need help.
Did I say McDaniel? I don't have him on this list.
You don't have
but
him on
he's
the
there.
list. I assume he.
I don't know what he's doing.
I assume he's back again.
Let's assume he is. So yeah, I mean, I'll just say this: the Albatross contract of Baines being gone, blessing, absolute blessing, and you get to, they get to basically say, hey, maybe it's time to hang it. Maybe it's time. But point of emphasis is 3-point shooting. They were last in 3-point attempts and second last in percentage. So they shot very few, and the very few that they took, they missed.
Yeah.
So they need an import to address that, because the local talent that can help with that are basically all signed up. Your Vasiljeviches, your Goldings, your Isaac Whites, he was on their roster. So it's that's them. But yeah, I think the future's pretty bright. The main thing is bringing back that coach.
Do you know, ironically, who would have helped them this season is
No.
Devondrick Walker.
Oh, please.
They needed 3-point shooting. That guy can shoot 3-ball.
Yeah, I can't.
You're
defend
out
his
on
position.
him.
I'm out.
They tried it.
This, it's like fool me once and twice and 3 or 4 times. Anyway, moving on to their crosstown rival Cairns. Finished the season 12-16. Finished where they did. Here's who's coming back. Ford, the coach. Wardenberg, Antonio, Gack, Menenga, Taron Armstrong, and Clintman's under contract, but a next star, so likely to depart.
I think he's gone.
Oh, he'll get picked for sure. So he's gone, so they get the buyout money. The league does anyway. Here's who's out of contract. And you tell me if you'd be rushing to sign these people. McCall.
No.
Bull Quall.
No.
Oh, we're going to talk about that, but I'll get to the end of it. Lat Mahan.
Yes.
Baines' best mate. And Miller's out of contract.
He's gone. I like him.
Wow.
I would take him back. I would bring him back. I just don't think Ford would bring him back.
Well, and certainly not in combination with McCall. They were just too friendly on the court. The other thing is, what are they doing with Taron Armstrong? This guy had a bad year. There was NBA heat and just fell off the radar completely. NBA radar, kind of NBL radar. Covers nothing.
Yeah.
And I actually believe in his game a lot. So, but you said no to McCall. So you're thinking they've tried the McCall experience?
They're just cut bait. I think what they need is they need to rebuild and get a more responsible approach to the game. They've been leaning on this Tajir McCall sort of crazy high tempo, sort of could
reckless
be really
energy,
reckless. Yeah, could be amazing play, but could just be a turnover. And I think they've lived that life for the last 3 years, is it? And I think they need to grow up a little and just have a bit more stability.
I agree. Before I chum in with my shite, Bull Quall, you said no. That's a bold strategy, my friend.
It is.
Not many locals out there. You're going to say goodbye to Bull Quall? I wouldn't do that. He was frustrating this year.
He came off the boil this season. Last season he was good. He was hitting the 3 at a good rate.
But ego kind of got in the way. didn't you find that in his game? I was watching him play. I was like, I think he expected to be allowed to manhandle people, and when he fouls, he just never adjusted to the way they called him. It was frustrating. I didn't like the way his season went. But sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah, no, he just seemed really angry the whole time, and
he played with no joy.
Yeah, no. And just like in his head, just like so angry about every foul being called that it just took away from every other aspect of his game. So look, I think he needs a fresh scene.
He can't get it in Cairns with a new adjustment. I'm not big on the new strategy. I actually think a lot of this stems from Ford. You know, I like Adam Ford, really good coach, but gee, loves to get stuck. Like, he's very emotional. Loves to get like, what's he doing chasing Baines in the hallway? Like, you're the coach. Wave a towel, draw up some shit on the whiteboard and pretend like you don't just stand in the background of these players. What are you doing? I feel like a lot of these guys regressed under him, you know, and I think prison guard background, like, yeah, you're not a prison guard anymore. You know, the tough guy routine kind of bothered me, and it kind of reflected in his team poorly this year. Now, maybe I'm being too ephemeral, too emotional, but it's just a vibe. I don't know if you concur or not.
I think it was basically it was whose team is it? And there was a bit of like, is it the Tajir McCall, Patrick Miller team?
Oh, it was. Yeah.
Or is it the Adam Ford team?
Yeah, there was conflict there. I'll be very interested. So, staying with thumbs up, thumbs down, their future. You got a big eye. They're good. Or are you going thumbs down?
I'm going to go thumbs up because I still think they've got a really good young core, and I think if they just
Wardenberg, I like
reset with some new personalities as much as anything in that team, and I think they might do okay. My question is about Jonah Antonio. Is that guy going to actually turn out to be a good player?
Sweet shot on him.
Yeah, but it's like he hasn't shown any development.
No.
So I don't know. It's like, how long do you keep? He's a small guard who can shoot the ball. Like, how valuable is that? Really?
For him to get mass minutes, there's a very small what do you call it? Margin for error. Whereas he's not really hot from the get-go. He's kind of got to go. I think that conversation, it's a very good question, but I will say I think it's all secondary to Taron Armstrong. Are they going to recruit over his position again? Patrick Miller, if they were serious about Armstrong, they shouldn't have brought in Miller. Yep. They should have. I mean, they still had a losing season. They should have gone, we're putting our stock into Miller, up to Armstrong and going it. They recruited him, and Miller was very keen to feel the leather. So, yeah, I'm less thumbs up with this team. I've got an iffy, not thumbs down. I'm giving it the side thumb, if that's such a thing. Happy to move on.
Yep.
Adelaide 12-16, same record. Started terribly. Picked up under Scott Ninnis, who's been signed after Adelaide basically cucked him. Every coach in the league came in, had an evening with the ownership. He waited outside and was like, "I'm done now. You can come in." But he got his money. Hey, listen, I'm not making fun of him. Got his opportunity, got his money. He's in, and that's the main thing.
Look, I'm hoping there was a little bit of solidarity here. As much as you said he was cucked, and I think he was. What I'm hoping is that old mate Gorgian, so Scott Ninnis, I think he was an assistant coach to Gorge at one time, but he was certainly a player for Gorge. Yes. I'm hoping that Gorge actually just did him a solid and just boosted the asking price a little for his old mate. Sort of upped the stakes, played the game, had the conversations, and then pulled out, leaving them to sign Scott Ninnis at a more marketable rate.
I don't know. I think Gorgian may have got wind of how the clubs operate at the top and decided that wasn't for him in his twilight years.
Wow.
But now the question comes, and I put this on Twitter, what happens to Gorgian now? You got to think about the opening. So Tommy Greer's not... I've heard rumblings. I've heard rumours that maybe not as lockstep as I thought. But I can't say anything. But I don't know.
Southeast Melbourne.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. That's a great fit for him. But it requires them to go to Mike Kelly. They're not going to do that. Nicest guy in the world. Those puppy dog guys, you can't fire him.
Hey, look, Mike Kelly was a former player under Brian Gorgian. Maybe he could slip into...
Associate head coach again.
Associate coach, there we go.
Let's stay with Adelaide. Here's who's coming back. Vasiljevic is coming back. Marshall's coming back. Detch Kadee, big asterisks over I always mix that up, but
Asterix is the
Asterix.
cartoon.
Asterisks. There's a cloud of doubt hanging over Detch and Kadee, and then Flowers, obviously, A, who gives a shit, but B, more than likely taken off. Wiley, mutual option on that contract.
Yeah,
who says no? Do you think who says no, Kenny? Player or team? Or anyone? Bring him back.
I think everybody's happy.
I think mutual. Yep, bring him back. Here's who's out of contract. McCarron, no chance he comes back. Humphreys, we're going to talk about him. Trey Kell, can I give a quick one? Yeah or no? You signing him or what? Had a pretty good year,
Probably, but I'm a little unconvinced. But probably I would sign him.
Starling, probably bring him back. Not bad. Yeah.
Nah, not an import. Is he?
No, he's a local.
He's a local, isn't he? Yeah, bring him back. Yep.
And then Galloway, who they had contempt for. The brother had a real case for most improved. We didn't talk about him. This one sat on the bench under Bruton, couldn't find his form, but
I reckon
he'll seemed to have a lot of the same talent.
I think he'll leave.
I think he definitely needs to change the scenery somewhere, and would actually be better for him in a team. I want to come back to this. Kel, did you say yay or nay? You kind of said yes.
I think I said yeah. Yeah, I'm saying yes.
Let's go back. Assuming, yeah. Let's go one back then. Let's go Humphreys.
Well, you gotta sign him, don't you?
Do you? You know my feelings. I feel he's had a good year now. The sniff is up. The asking price is down. He's going to get hurt next year. I don't have the faith. I don't have the trust.
No, he's a below the rim center. Like he's they need to sign him.
I'll just say this: when they were right on the pin of like, if we win our next two, we're a chance for the top four. He had 2 games that were very, very forgettable. He hasn't played in a single NBL playoff game in his career. I just, the asking price is back up now. It's 2 years fallow, and I'm back, baby, top dollar, and I'm out. I'm saying no.
Yeah.
What are you saying? Have I sold you, or you're going the other way?
Okay, I'm signing. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a strong run at Geordie from Sydney.
Geordie Hunter.
Yeah, yep. Geordie Hunter. I'm going to go for Geordie Hunter with everything I've got. And if that falls through, I'm going to Humphreys.
I just don't think they're even in the same pay grade conversation.
Well, that's what I mean. You might pay Hunter a lot less, but get only a little bit less on the court, and that's a good deal.
I concur.
And then you throw your money at the imports.
Yeah. I just don't. This team, who knows what they do with their recruiting? They've just recruited so poorly the last 2 years.
I don't know which players want to go to Adelaide and play either. That's the other.
I'd love to go to. If I was a player, I'd really like to go to that team. Even when they were trash, their team gets you 8,500.
True.
They're great fans in a very manageable city. Every dollar you sign is gone. Yeah, you can buy a house in Adelaide for like the coins and the couch cushions, man. That's great. McCarron. What happens to this guy? I'm still a firm believer in his game. Are you a believer? And if so, and if not, where do you think he's going?
Yeah, in the right environment, I think he can be really good. But you've got to understand he's never going to get you a lot of points. He's a facilitator. And
to me, this guy's
that.
cotton. This guy's built for Perth, I think. And he just locks down that position that they've kind of struggled with. Ty Webster's actually been okay, but who knows what he's going to ask for. So I'll ask you this. You're Danny Mills, and you've got the choice of signing at the same money, McCarron or Ty Webster. Whom do you choose?
I'm going McCarron.
Wow. I agree. And you're buying at the bottom of the market too. Well, I would be very interested to see his asking price after this year, because I think a lot of teams are going to be like us and still see his value. So maybe it doesn't hit rock bottom. Anything else from Adelaide, or are you happy to move on?
No, that's all we got.
That's all we got. South East Melbourne, Wooden Spoon, 10 and 18. Here's who's coming back. Kelly, Creek, Williams, Foxwell, Matt Kenyon, Ben Eyre, and Vague. So just of that list, who's a rotation player? Creek is, obviously. Yep. Williams is. Ben Eyre is.
Yeah. Foxwell's shown some...
Plucky.
Yeah.
Plucky. But if he's in your top 8...
If you've got Foxwell, you don't need Kenyon. They're the same... They're almost the same guy.
Yeah.
Kenyon's a bit bigger, but... It's a lot of limited growth in that lot.
Yeah, it's not a huge depth chart. I mean, not a lot of teams wouldn't be thinking, he's under contract? Damn. I like, here's who's out of contract, and I just want you to say yes or no as to whether you re-sign them. Ruben Tarangi?
No.
Brown?
No.
The import. Gack?
Maybe.
Moller?
Yeah, it's hard.
Let's say he's healthy.
You've got to say
Let's
yes.
Nader?
No.
Yeah, hurt. Okay, yeah. Well, that's good then. They've got a lot of guys coming off the books that you don't think are coming. I want to ask you this question, and you just say yes or no, or explain as if you want.
Okay.
Is Alan Williams a third import in disguise? Yes or no?
No.
Do you think he's a top line import?
No, I think he's mid tier.
Okay, you think okay?
He's
yeah,
like your second import.
Oh, I don't know. I've got here football player on a basketball court ? I just don't see the finesse. I see the great stat accumulating, but I'm not convinced. I don't think third import. If you've ever heard the Brad and Body podcast, but Body refers to him as third import. Not willing to go that far, but boy, we'll get into next year and I'll make up my mind. Is this the end of the road for Tarangi? Yes or no?
I hope so. The guy's been trash.
He's coming back. I just think he's amazing at sticking around. Is this the end of the line for Gary Brown?
One would hope. Add it to the list, the discard pile of the point guards that come and go from Southeast Phoenix.
Well, this is the thing, and this is my last question on the Southeast moment. Do we have any trust left in Tommy Greer's ability to scout and sign imports? I'm going to give you the list of imports and see if you can remember them. And if you can remember them, tell me if they were good or bad.
Okay.
Remember John Robertson?
I do. I liked him.
Yeah, he was a good player. He could shoot the shit out of it. So, quite a good player. Ty Wesley got hurt, had a reputation, but was an older player.
Yeah, it didn't. I like the earlier version of Wesley, not the one they had.
Cool. Keith Benson, remember him?
He was that tall guy, wasn't it? Yeah. Centre that was just angry the whole time.
Yeah, just barely played. Yep. Jay Crockett was kind of a plucky third import type player.
Yeah, skinny, small forward kind of guy, right?
So let's call that another push. So we've really got one success story. Kiefer Sykes, definitely a thumbs up. He was, remember him, really small. Missed a lot of time, but was really good.
Yep.
Ben Moore.
Who?
Okay, bad sign. Devin Thomas.
Who?
Brandon Ashley.
Oh, yeah, he was the New Zealand Kiwi guy.
New Zealand loved a foul. Loved a foul. Had a much better performance with New Zealand than South East. So, again, another push. Xavier Munford.
Who?
Yeah, I've actually got thumbs down. I do remember Cummings, their most recent one, who got kicked off the team for lack of community service. Thumbs down. Yeah. Tyler Cook, the one good input they've had in the last 5 years, didn't sign him because they had Williams, and he was this electric, dunk everything, run the court, play
his
D.
eye popped out. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Should have kept
Nader.
him. Should have kept that Cook guy.
And then Nader, we're going hard to tell, injured, thumbs down. And then Brown, I think we're pretty. Are you willing to cast your thumbs down vote?
Thumbs down on Brown. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's not a great track record.
That's a lot of players over a relatively short period of time too.
Huge success with Kiefer Sykes. That he was a stud and played really well in the finals when they made it. What's the future of this team? Are you optimistic about this team or pessimistic about this team?
Dude, they're called the Phoenix. This is what you have to do. You got to
rise from
burn it down. Yeah, you got to build it up and rise once more like the Phoenix
of myth. I am not. I don't think that was an answer. You're just taking the piss out of it. I am not optimistic about this team.
No, that was a genuine answer, man. This team sucks.
They're going to blow it up. But the funny thing is, they got all these players coming back from contract. Creek, Williams, Foxwell, Kenyon, Air, Vague. I'm like, none of these guys other than Creek. Williams is just I think Williams is an albatross. I don't know how much they've paid him, and now they're like, he's like the face of the league.
They should just transfer him to the NBL, actually. That's what they should do. Just say, look, he's a commentator this year. Still get your money, but we're freed up to sign somebody else.
It'd be like those This Is Sports Center ads, but he's just there full time. In uniform. All right, let's make some predictions and let's get the fuck out of here.
I just want to reiterate. Sorry, Joe. I know.
Go for it.
This Southeast Phoenix team, they just suck. They're so bad, and there's just no hope. And I don't know what they're doing. And
what were their highlights this year? The win over Sydney was fun. The one in Traralgon where they had no one and Creek just decided, I'm gonna get one win on the board.
Yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Outside of that, this year, can you imagine?
I like the fact that
bless
Gary
him.
Brown punched 2 guys in one season. That's pretty good effort.
And barely got suspended. Yeah, that was fun. Can you imagine being a Southeast Melbourne fan in Melbourne? Like, how pathetic that would be. Bless you out there. I don't mean to, but just the uniform's a great colour. It should be predominantly green, but yet they go black for some reason.
Yep.
But it's just such a man. It's a tough sell.
Okay, this is one bit of advice I've got. Tommy Greer, tune in. Okay, if you're still going to be around, this is who you need to sign. You need to sign Bull Qual. There you go.
Oh,
there you go. There's my
why?
hot tip. Get Bull Qual on your team. Get some defensive starch.
Yeah.
And 3-D, make it happen.
Here's what I'll say, Tommy. Tommy, come in here. Whoever's in charge of your health and fitness, your injury prevention, maybe time to let him go. I don't know where you found him, bottom of a cereal box somewhere, but your team just perennially gets hurt all the time. It may be time to, I don't know, get some orthotics in. I don't know. But you got to do something because you just get hurt every year. Happy to move on, play in and playoff predictions. Here we go. I did this the best I could. So, play-in. Tasmania are hosting Illawarra in the first of the play-ins. This is the one where the losing team gets a second chance. Am I right?
Yeah.
Who you got? Just before you do that, 2-1 series record in favour of the JJs in this one. Hard to tell because I think one of those losses came when the team was under a different head coach, and that head coach was maybe or maybe not playing, Boali Bales 20 minutes back up. Who are you picking?
It's a really tough one. It is
a tough
don't have any confidence in my prediction, but I'm going to say the Jack Jumpers will win.
Same. And it was not easy. I only went who's the home team and just went with it. But I think Scott Roth. I don't think Scott Roth will get hoodwinked. I think Tatum, a lot of his wins have come with just really simple strategies of hit the boards, play hard, attack the hoop, play D, double a good player.
Yeah.
And I think that Roth is a coach who will scheme for that, and they should win.
Yeah.
Why are you not confident?
Look, I think interestingly, I think the inside double threat of Lee and, triple almost the way Krislovich is playing these days. But yeah, Lee, him and Magnay, I just think there's too much inside for Froling.
Yeah, what is essentially just Froling.
Yeah.
Who's their other big?
They've got
Lockie Albrick.
Yep.
And someone else.
Okay.
And Clark, I guess.
But yeah, I just think that they, and as well as the just the overall coaching, like you said, they've got so many different wrinkles to what they can do.
Both teams are teams that don't kill themselves. They don't F up. And I just think that the talent on paper, I just like pretty much every matchup for Tasmania, other than whoever's up on Clark. I just think every other matchup goes the way of Tasmania.
That could be McVeigh, and McVeigh's done pretty well this season. So
yeah,
if Clark if he gets that matchup.
Yeah, that's true. Moving on. The other playing game is Sydney, New Zealand at Kudos Bank Arena. It's 2-1 series record in favour of Sydney. Who are you choosing, my friend?
Oh my God. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think Sydney will win over New Zealand.
I'm picking the same reason, and only because of the injuries.
Yeah.
Listen to these injuries. Lamb.
If they had Lamb, I would go.
If they had Lamb, I'm definitely picking New Zealand. Are you crazy? I think New Zealand probably wouldn't be in this spot. They would have won that game that they dropped.
Yeah.
Lamb's a stud. Lamb could have been MVP had he hung around, not got hurt. So, yeah, Sydney, why picking Sydney? Just the injury factor?
Just the injuries. So Lamb, like McDowell White, is he going to play? Probably not.
Yeah, probably not. Delaney's out. Jessup, long hurt. Just everybody.
Yeah, they just don't have enough. So, I think Sydney, all likelihood will have one of those games where they just hit all their shots, and we have Sean Bruce chatting away saying how great they are.
Move it. Let's go through the whole final series as if our predictions go through. So we both had Sydney beating beating New Zealand, which means they would play Illawarra in the second play-in, right?
Sydney play Illawarra. Yeah, I don't have the chart in front of me.
So Tasmania would beat Illawarra, and that means they would go on to play Perth.
Yeah.
Sydney would beat New Zealand, which means they've got to play another one against the loser. They'd have to play Illawarra to see who played the Wildcats.
Yeah, no, that's.
To see who played Melbourne.
See who plays Melbourne. Yep.
So
Hawks
Sydney Illawarra.
Sydney. Yep.
For Hawks versus Kings, freeway series. The record between the two was 2-2 split. Who are you picking?
Hawks.
Ooh.
Hawks.
Isn't it? I mean, you said it at the top of the program.
You know,
MAF has got the chance to. All he has to do is beat New Zealand, who are badly hurt, and Illawarra to make the semi-finals.
I know.
Isn't that crazy? Oh fuck!
Oh.
Would they? You're confident you'll pick about Illawarra? I haven't given mine yet. You're confident?
Yeah, I'm confident the Hawks. They won't win. They won't lose 2 in a row. And yeah,
I don't know. Sydney's got some studs, man. Like Hogue is now better, or fuck, he's not better. He's on the team. He's playing. Adams, Valentine. Like these are real. As much as Valentine's had a bad year, and I don't think the player we thought he was.
he's not been bad
Still, no, he's not been bad. No, not at all. I agree. But there's some players on this team that have been there. They've done it. They've got some real talent. I'm hoping they come together and go, listen, we're throwing everything out. Like the playbook, it's out.
Yep.
This is a mutiny. Let him yell, but we're just running our shit.
We're just listening to Fleur. Whatever she says.
We're just doing. We're going Rover. And no, you're right. It's Illawarra. It's got to be surely. All right. So let's say Illawarra win. That means in the semis, Melbourne would play Illawarra and Perth would play Tasmania. In a series between Melbourne and the Hawks, United and Hawks, who would win? Season series went 2-1 in favour of... I've only got it here as if Sydney had won. Oh, well, flip. I think the series between the two was 2-2 between Illawarra and Melbourne. And they both got... Okay, it doesn't matter. Who would you pick anyway?
Melbourne.
Melbourne. No, I agree. Like,
It's just too much depth.
Too much depth, too much scoring too. Like Ian Clark and stuff. It's just it's not going to happen. Perth, Tasmania. This would be a fun, interesting series. I really think if really gets too frilly and plays Webster and does some funky stuff, he could torture this team. And I mean, also, do you think Tasmania are going to double Bryce Cotton in the Illawarra vein?
Nah.
I don't think so. It's been so effective.
I know. I don't think they might take a look at it. I don't think they'll start that way.
No. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, it's been so effective. And I look at the people around Cotton, the players around Cotton, I go, yeah, okay. I'll chance you to make decisions, 4-on-3. Okay. Let's see Hiram Harris. Let's see you make the right play time and time again from the first quarter to the fourth. Jesse Wagstaff, we're going to take your shot away. You can put it on the deck if you want. You go ahead. You do that. Jordan Usher, you want to take a fadeaway on the baseline? You do that, pal. We'll see if you can win a 3-game series pulling that stuff. So who are you picking in the series again?
Jack Jumpers.
Oh, you're picking the Jack Jumpers to beat Perth without the home court.
Yep.
Wow. Why do you think that?
Jack Jumpers are what Perth used to be.
Good point.
They've got no fear. They'll go into any venue and don't care. Home, away, it doesn't matter. It's the same court. They're disciplined. They know what it takes to win, and they'll get it done. And they have.
They don't have Bryce Cotton though.
Yeah, but they've got Milton Doyle, which is good enough. Jordan Crawford.
I have the Wildcats winning that series,
Okay.
primarily on home court and the Cotton factor. Surely, really is looking at it now and thought, okay, if they double Bryce, we're going to do this. Surely,
You would hope so. I haven't seen any evidence of it yet, but you never know.
Even if you're not certain they're going to do it, you'd want to have some strategy by this stage. You lost a couple of games this year as a result. Anyway, that'd be interesting. But no, I think Perth. I actually like Pinder's a strong player, a bit reckless again, but Wagstaff, they're heady teams. They'll be all right. Okay, so then you're picking a grand final of
Melbourne.
a rematch, a Melbourne-Tasmania rematch from what? Not last year, but the year before.
Yep.
Oh, was it Melbourne? No, the year before that, before the Kings run. Who have we got winning that?
I've got Melbourne winning.
Just clearing straight through. You're going with the bookies. The bookies, by the way, are saying Melbourne $1.91 to win the championship. Perth, second favourite, $3.75. Tasmania, not far behind, on $5.
Okay.
Illawarra, $8.50. So you'd go no issues with Melbourne. You'd do it in a sweep, or would there be some?
Give away one. So what's that? 3-1. It is best of 5, isn't it? Jeez.
Yeah, best of 5. Yeah.
3-1.
Yeah, that'd be a good series. What would be a better series? Melbourne-Perth, Melbourne-Tasmania?
I think Melbourne-Perth would be more fun.
Yeah, crisscrossing the country.
Yeah, and just
fun.
more,
Bryce
a bit more dynamism. Yeah, and Bryce Cotton.
Can I ask you, if that was the eventuality, if Melbourne were to play host to Perth in the finals, who do you think would win that one?
Melbourne. Too much depth.
Too much depth. Don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
But the only thing is, would they chance
Coach of the
Cotton?
year.
Would they be like, hang on, we've got the defensive player of the year. Grab his balls, dive on his legs, like deck chair him, fold
Exactly.
him up.
And the referees will turn a blind eye because it's the NBL, baby.
Yeah, right. I think if they did that strategy, they'd have a chance of losing because Cotton, I think, could actually shake off Illy for sure. I think the answer is this little sort of blitz double off the pick thing.
Yeah.
It works really well and make those other Wildcats who I don't have a lot of faith in. And I don't think Vickerman it'd be such a heady game where he's like, I can't tell my defensive player of the year to take a back seat. Can't do that. And Dellavedova, what merit do those two have on the court if they're not tagging a guy
one-on-one? Yeah,
exactly.
You're exactly right there. The play on Cotton is to double as soon as he crosses half court, basically. As you say, blitz that, get with preferably tall defenders, make him have to jump off his feet to throw a cross court pass, and then just
to me, I'd be forcing it to Harris and Usher and say, Usher, we're going to test your decision making over a 5-game series. I'd be confident you'd win that battle against the Wildcats.
Yeah. Yep.
That's my
exactly
thought.
Right.
Gosh, we've run an hour. Ooh. Apologies to everyone.
No, we're giving the people what they want. They've probably been shortchanged this season.
Yeah, well, I don't think we're worth an hour of anyone's time, just being honest. You maybe, me definitely not. We've done a whole thumbs up, thumbs down thing this whole episode. The refereeing all year, are you giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down? It's the same conversation. People think, it's getting worse. No, I can assure you, we've covered is a pretty loose word. We have watched this league for a while now. I have seen no improvement nor getting worse with the refs. What do you call it? Decay. What do you think?
Yeah, I no improvement, and just so inconsistent.
But no regression. Are you buying it?
They're not good.
I'm not buying it.
They're not good, and they don't have a feel for the game. That's the thing that annoys me. There's just like, and there's been I feel like there's been a lot of fouls called. I've seen a lot of free throws this season, and they're pretty boring to watch.
I agree with the huge foul call. So what do you put that down to? You think the problem is the refs are too ticky-tack?
Yep.
Man, guys are smacking each other in the NBL. Pippen comes out. Actually, short word on Pippen. So this is the most Melbourne thing. And everyone's go, NBL. I don't really buy that stuff necessarily. I certainly buy it as far as how they do business, which is fine. It's their owners located at Albert Park. It's going to happen. But the most Melbourne thinking is like Pippen comes to town. What are we going to do with him to like get people to the games? And so we'll put him on the project. I mean, that is as Melbourne as a cappuccino on a side street. I mean, to think that you could like the project is where
I just don't. Seriously, do you know
it's on Chapel Street? Got to send him.
I grew up in the era of the Bulls. Right, I'm old enough that they were my team that were amazing to watch. If you were lucky to watch them, because it wasn't easy to watch basketball.
You got one game a week, mate, on replay. Yeah,
it was terrible.
On Saturday morning.
So this is my wheelhouse. I don't give a flying fuck that Scottie Pippen is here for NBL. I just know he's cashing those checks from the NBL, right? He doesn't care about the league. He knows nothing.
And also, if he does know anything, he has seen two of the worst games of NBL, of basketball itself. Naismith would have taken a pistol to his dome. They were the worst 2 games ever he has been present for. But I'm totally with you, Kenny.
It's just disingenuous. They bring in some, past it player to razzle-dazzle the league and think we're all going to get excited about it. He's got no credibility with the NBL. I just don't care. Like, even his little interview the other day, I was like, man, this guy doesn't really know the NBL. He's talking about, possessions mean more in the playoffs. No, we're in FIBA rules, man. And we were playing with percentage points. Like, every possession matters in every game. Like, it was just those little things. It's like, he doesn't know. I'm not happy with the whole Scottie Pippen thing. And you know what else I'm not happy with, Joe?
Ooh.
I am not happy with hearing about the No Bull Tour. If I'm going to have to hear about the freaking No Bull Tour again one more time, I am going to throw something into my television set. I can't even go see it if I wanted to. They're not coming to Perth.
And as you said, like you are the target audience. If ever there was a target audience to speak of, I'm with you on this, Kenny.
I've heard all the stories. I don't think anything will be said.
It's basketball from 30 fucking years ago. It is a sport that came to its games that came to their conclusion, and also it's not even like The Last Dance just came out. That'd be different if it was like The Last Dance to it, and they're talking about the doc's on, or like, here's a hidden scene, here's something you didn't see, that would have merit. That may have merit. But it is just, and the tickets are not cheap. We're talking over $100, and it is extortion. And I'm not liking this live events bullshit that they're doing over there, and it happens all the time. And Giddy was a big profiteer of this, and I'm just like, you know what was funny was they're charging for the no bull, and no bull. Pippen's getting his money, Horace Grant's getting his money. And what's funny is Nate McMillan, the former head coach and player of the Sonics, not a big name, not a Scottie Pippen, I'll concur, did a meet and greet in Seattle for free at some supermarket. And then, yes, it's the US, it's a different economy, but I'm just saying, like, you just don't have to milk people for every fucking dollar. Sorry for the language. It's just, I'm just sick of the cynicism of it. It's like, Pippen, if you like the NBL so much, come out on your own dime. I know you got divorced and lost fucking 3/4 of your dough. I get that. That sucks. But it's not my fucking problem. Wow. You started this. You started this, Canyon. You dragged me down to your level with the cursing. Hey, it's no bull here. Okay, no bull. Back to the refs, though.
Yeah, I've got more points on the refs, actually.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I want to know why. Keith Benson, right? That's his name? Keith Benson?
The former Southeast Melbourne centre stalwart of 10
no,
games.
it's not Keith Benson, is it? What's his name? The referee from the US.
I don't know his name. I was about to ask you.
Kevin Keith. I don't know. But I don't know why they love him so much, because he's a bit crap.
What makes him crap in your eyes?
He just makes bad calls.
Oh, well, that's, that'll do it.
He has a pretty good demeanour. Like, I like his demeanour. I like his level of fitness. Sure. He wears that uniform really well.
Oh, it's snug. It's snug. It's beautiful.
Like, he looks...
Crack a walnut.
He looks
on
great.
that.
He looks great. But, geez, he makes some shocking calls.
Yeah, right.
And also, I mean... I've got one more. One more, and then I'll shut up and
no
the show
ball.
is yours.
Plenty of ball.
I just want to know, what's with the NBL and its random enforcement of an issue for like 3 weeks and then forgetting all about it? Do you remember when they did the technicals for delay of game? Like, a dude would shoot the whistle would go and he'd shoot the ball,
vaguely,
and then throw a technical his way. That's just totally gone this season. They just don't worry about that. Guys are back to doing the old thing. It's like they get hot about something for like 3 weeks, then they forget all about it.
I will agree with this. Yeah.
It shits me.
I just think, I don't know. I mean, like, as they say, refs are fleas, but there are fleas, right? You're just never going to improve the game. I actually think this is a fundamental flaw of basketball itself. And the reason why I say this is they're having the same problem in the NBA. If you go on NBA Twitter, which I've been forced to do with employers of the past, thank God, not anymore, you just see the same shit. Oh, these refs suck. They're getting worse year by year. It's like, hang on, you're the biggest league in the world. Like, how can you... It makes sense in the NBL, part-time pay, blah, blah, blah. But the same criticism is happening in the NBL. In the NBA. And I'm like, hang on a second now. This is just the way the fan engages with the sport. I don't think the criticisms are fair. And also, I think these NBL players, like this, the offensive skill level is lower. They're hammering each other. Like, Bull Quall got called for a lot of fouls. Do you know why he got called for a lot of fouls, Kenny? Because he fucking fouled every time at the court. And it's like, stop this. Yeah. And it's because I think there's an element of, because star players only play 28 minutes a game, there's no need to preserve fouls. There's no need to do it. And Ross has got, I mean, that's before, like, look at, well, I'm just saying, Gaze used to play like 48-minute era. He'd play 40 minutes a game. So he's like, I am not going to foul. I do not want to foul this game. I'm not going to. So you just let a few more points through. But in that way, like, the NBL has kind of starch, like it does. Yeah, these teams play D, and I respect that. But where's the marriage? I'll just say this. I actually think the problem with the refs, I think this is a problem with basketball itself. You're seeing it all over the world where free throws are not fun. The simple answer is the Elam ending.
Yes.
Here it comes. Because the Elam ending doesn't reward fouls. With a stopped clock, it rewards fouling. Yep. It stops the clock. It's a miracle advantage. They might miss the free throw. It's a fundamental flaw in the game itself. You can either look at it and improve your product or not. I don't care. It's not my money on the table. But the Elam ending makes you... If you foul a guy and he hits his shots, they still win the game. You take all that shit out of it. It's about nutting up and hitting shots. I'll say this as well. Ditch pausing for review. Reviews should be done in real time where they're just keep playing. It's like in Jeopardy. Have you watched that TV show where someone will give an answer and then Ken Jennings, or the former, rest in peace, Alec Trebek, will go like, no, that was incorrect. And then in the break, they'll go, actually, we looked at your answer and fucking no ball was correct. And they add on the score. And I'm of the opinion just keep this game going. I don't want to see stoppages. Get rid of the coach. Scrap the coach's challenge. I think they're shit. They waste time. I think they're not worth it. You're compounding the problem by then getting more people in. Oh, did you think it was a good call? The refs called it. Cut that shit. It's not the spirit of the sport. It's not the spirit of sport itself, let alone basketball. I say cut it. Let's get this thing over with. Let's get off the foul line and get this thing over with. That's my diatribe. But anyway,
Love it.
I think we're both on the same page. But no, I don't think the refs are getting any worse. I don't think it's an actual their issue. I think it's the game itself.
Microwave's ready.
Yeah, microwave, dishwasher, the whole thing. I mean, that beeping coincides with time for us to get the fuck out of here, don't you think? Well, I think this episode's going to be called the No Ball episode. I think it has to be.
It has to be, doesn't it? Oh.
And also, do you really think there's going to be no ball at that tour? I think there's going to be plenty of ball.
Plenty of ball.
Like, my favourite bit was when Jordan I love playing with Longley. No, he didn't. I fucking hated him. I can show you footage of Game 5, 1994-95, where you get eliminated by Orlando. You make a play, you pass it down to Longley in the key, misses a layup. You're giving him the death stare of for the ages. And as a result, Longley never plays another 5 minutes of the fourth quarter ever, as long as you're on the Bulls. I'm like, that's bull. I call ball. Anyway.
This has been the NBL Pocket Podcast.
Yeah, it has. Wow. A lot of cursing. Thanks very much, everyone, for listening. Twitter, Patreon, Instagram. We've got all that sort of stuff. Canyon, anything I'm forgetting?
Mastodon.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, what would NBL Pocket...